Today we are talking about toxic relationships. And so this is a hot topic that either those of you may be involved in, or you may be the person that's creating the toxic vibes in the relationship. So we want to kind of dive in a little bit deeper and talk about the elements of a toxic relationship. What's a toxic relationship?
The dictionary defines the word toxic as relating to or caused by poison, very bad, unpleasant, or harmful. A toxic relationship. So the concept of a toxic relationship has no positive connotations whatsoever.
So when you think about toxic relationships, it could be how you interact, how you communicate, how you bring your baggage into a relationship. It could also be characteristics of those that are inconsiderate or selfish, self-absorbed, where you're really not in the relationship to grow, but just really self-serving. And so toxic behaviors ends up really poisoning a relationship. What makes a toxic relationship?
I think there's several things that are involved in causing a relationship to be toxic. There are inside interferences and there are also outside interferences that can make a relationship toxic. For example, an inside influence can be, like you mentioned earlier, about baggage that either partner brings to the relationship. And whether you know it or not, everybody brings baggage into a relationship, because when you have two lives that conjoin, you're bringing two backgrounds together. So there's going to always be baggage in a relationship. Outside influences. Outside influences could be friends who don't believe in your relationship or the potential of your relationship. It could also be things that you read, things that you listen to, shows that you watch, songs that you listen to. Those are some outside influences that can cause a relationship to be toxic.
And so when you think about toxic relationship, there tends to be a high level of drama. And drama where there's no solution. I think every relationship probably has some level of toxic or unproductive behaviors. Things that are maybe not encouraging the relationship to grow. There's some stallers, right? Things that stall a relationship. So yes, there's going to be elements, but the key thing that we're talking about is when it's majority of the issues that's happening in that relationship, partnership, relationship, whatever that relationship is, it's the toxic level. Because there's going to be elements where you may not be on one accord. There may be some selfish behaviors or what have you. But the question is when it's beyond the level of the poison level is high, then that's where we're trying to figure out how do you get out of it? How do you reconcile it? How do you have a come to Jesus conversation even with yourself? Because the reality of it is you could be the toxic person.
And you also have to understand that you deserve better. Because you're in a relationship does not obligate you to stay in that relationship, especially if that relationship is so toxic to the point it's causing anxiety, it's causing stress, it's causing you to be physically ill, it's causing you to get off course, it's causing you to do things that are harmful to not just yourself, but to those that are near and dear to you. Those are clear signs that the relationship is not for your good, and it's a toxic relationship. So you have to understand that you deserve better. Do not allow that person in that relationship to manipulate you, to cause you to think that you are the one in the wrong, because toxic people in toxic relationships will cause you to think that you're the one that is the problem.
When you think about it, there's some opportunities to get out of it. There's opportunities to reconcile. But the key thing is start with what do you think you deserve? What do you value? What are your values? Is it hurting you? Is it causing damage? Is it mentally hurting you? Is it spiritually hurting you? Is it physically hurting you? If those things are impacting, then it's time to have an exit strategy. Bottom line.
In summary, talking about toxic relationships, you must first identify that the relationship is toxic. Once you begin to identify that the relationship is toxic, then you have to make a conscious decision to either make amends, fix what's broken, or once you've tried everything else, choose an exit strategy. Because it is not healthy to stay in a toxic relationship. If you want to make it work, it will work. It will work if you work it. But if you've exhausted all options and the relationship has become abusive, not just physically but also mentally, and you know that this is not the place you're supposed to be, then it's probably time to say goodbye and call it quits.
So we appreciate you tuning in. As we said before, this is our fall series, and so we're going to have a lot of different topics. These are real issues with real people, with real solutions, and so we are excited about other topics that are coming up. Thanks again for tuning in.